Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Welcome with it today.
That's right. Welcome to Saturday. Looking a little bit different today.
Yep.
But here we are. We just want to jump on here because today we want to talk about differences. Because we got a little different environment going on here. We had a different experience coming up here. So, what are we talking about, babe?
Well, you talk about differences, and sometimes when you talk about differences, like in math, you take 5 minus 3, the difference is 2. Well, we are one. So we've learned to take our differences and make them a value add instead of different. They're not different, they are value add because we're able to move together as
That's
one.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's even though it talks about differences, you take those things and say, okay, the things that used to bother us, they don't really bother us because now they're value add. I know how my wife operates,
Yep.
and she knows how I operates, and we move together. As you talked about one time, it's the 3-legged race,
Yeah.
and I can't drag you through it, trying to win, and you can't go left when we're supposed to be going straight.
That's right.
We want to arrive there together. So, that's
So instead of your differences driving you bananas like it used to do with us,
yes.
we learned how to help our differences to make us better and to move us forward in a better and more constructive way. So we want to talk about 3 differences that we have, because I don't know if you married your opposite like we have. Put it in the chat.
I don't know about opposite. Yeah.
You don't think we're opposite?
We're not opposite. We are complementary.
I mean, we are
Yes,
definitely
yeah,
complementary, but opposites can be complementary.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
complement each other well
Yeah.
because we're opposites.
Yeah. We all good. Yeah, go ahead.
But the thing that keeps us moving forward very tightly, though, is our values. So
Absolutely.
even though we have opposites in our preferences, opposites in our personality style sometimes, the thing that definitely keeps us connected, when you talk about the 3-legged race, at the ankle is our value system.
Absolutely.
Our value system is very much similar in a lot of ways. We have a lot of the same values that keep us moving forward. But today we're talking about
The difference.
our beautiful differences.
That's it.
All right, so what's the first one?
Go for it.
For me, I would say, like personality style, I'm a lot more cautious. I'm like, I'm not going to take a high risk,
Yes.
like we talked about earlier. I'm more the calculated risk taker.
Yes.
But I'm a lot more cautious than he is. And I would say he's more venturesome, like wants to go out there and like, come on, we can do it. Let's go. He'll like bust through the gate and I'll be like, no, that gate is locked.
Yeah.
I'll be
Well,
like,
that's
"What?"
happened a few times. Well,
Like when we was in Puerto Rico.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, we was down in Puerto Rico and there were some places and I'd be like, nah, but I don't know if we should go down that road. But we do both like adventures. There's that value. We both value adventure. But
If it's a trail, and if it's got, whether it's a walking trail or a wheel trail, and my vehicle and my shoes are able to get me there, I'm going to try it.
yeah,
When I was little, I wanted to be a daredevil, and that is still
Evil
in me.
Knievel.
Yeah, yeah, I sure do. I like watching that type stuff,
Yep.
and I thought I was going to be that.
Yeah.
I really do. And there's still that little Linwood wants to get out there and try it, to
Yeah.
be exposed, and that's it.
Yep.
That's
So
it.
we both like adventure, but I'm the cautious adventurer. I'm the adventurer who, okay, let me see you do it first. Okay, it's cool. I'll do it now.
Yeah.
So he's my do it first person. So like when we were in Puerto Rico, there was a road and we didn't know where it was going, and he was like, "Come on, let's go." And I'm like, I don't know about that. But man, we went down that road and it was crazy, driving through potholes, driving through mud holes, driving through all this craziness. But it opened up to the most beautiful, glorious beach that we have experienced.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I know if I didn't have him with me, I didn't have his difference of being that bold adventurer, I would have never had that experience. We would have never had that experience again. Well, he probably would have had it because he was going to do it anyway.
Not in that case, because you came up with it and you said it was supposed to be something, right? And map reading, I'm a better map reader. So I saw that there was some water on this. Oh, absolutely, we'll go.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, it's a park, and it's supposed to be here, and
Yeah.
people go here, and the locals go down here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But when we got there, it was like, we in a rental
It
vehicle.
looked really questionable.
It was low, and it was like, all right, this little Kia.
He gonna like,
got
we
to have
gonna
a
make
look.
this happen.
Yeah, we're gonna make this happen. So
Yeah.
in that case, and once we did that, we went on every one that you had on the map.
Right.
It was like, oh, okay, if this is a local spot, it's gonna be maybe a little harder to get to, right? But it's gonna open up the reward. So it's
Yeah.
exposure for me.
Yeah.
So each time I'm going to do something adventurous, it's for exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she wants to jump out of a plane. And I'm like, I've been on planes. You know, I even jumped out or rappelled out of a helicopter and stuff like that. But that was because of training. Now I'm good. I've never jumped out of a plane.
It wasn't just because.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. It was because, you know, she just do it because.
Yeah.
She wants to do it because she wants to do it.
I
and
do.
I'm like, okay, I've been exposed to it, but I need to make sure it's a big, broly, whatever, you know, and know how to handle that thing. I ain't going to be trying to do it on my own. Just going to make sure somebody can guide us down. And when he tells me, or she tells me to put my feet up, I'm going to put my feet up and we're just going to glide right on in.
Ooh.
I'm ready to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ready to do it. But that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that when you were talking about Puerto Rico and how I was able to see where the beaches and stuff were on the map,
Yeah.
that kind of brings us into the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Because the second difference that we have is I'm a little bit more detail oriented and slower pace
Yeah.
when it comes to just navigating things. Like if someone gives us a document and it's got all the fine print,
Yeah.
I'm gonna read all the fine print. I'm gonna read everything. So I'm a big researcher, very detail oriented when it comes to things like that. And he's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Tell them what I am.
Well, you're a lot more big picture.
Yes.
You know,
And I
definitely.
see how it connects.
Yeah, you see the bigger, broader connections, and I see more of the detailed connections. And so even like you were saying in Puerto Rico, because I'm more of the researcher and the detail person, I was able to find like all of the little things for us to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm like looking at reading all the maps, reading all the stuff. I'm like, okay, doing all the research. And he wouldn't do that. He would just go and explore and then figure it out.
Well, in that case, I would look at it and make the most efficient route. I didn't care where we stopped along the route.
Well, because that's your broader
Yes.
picture.
Yeah, that's the
so
broader
you bring
picture,
that broader gift
Yeah.
into our difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we make it work.
Yeah.
That's how we make it better, baby.
Even with the reading of the document, I know like this needs to be in there, this needs to be in here, this needs to be in here. And if it's not, then I'm gonna make sure those things are in the document,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna skim to see what they're gonna say in favor of us. Now there might be some things in there. I'm like, okay, now this is how I see it by skimming and making sure it's in there. How does that? And then she'll go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Mm-hmm.
Like if she was a paralegal or an attorney, and she would, what about this? And she asked all the questions.
Yeah.
I might not ask all the questions because I'm like, okay, this, boom,
Then we hit the
boom,
big
boom.
things.
Then we hit the big things and how
The
it's
big
connected
rocks. Yeah.
to our intention.
Yeah.
Now,
But see, in the past, it would drive us crazy because I would say from your perspective, we would get too bogged down in the details.
Absolutely.
Because I would take forever to move because I'm so into the details that we would never make a decision. We would never move forward on something, and it really would drive him crazy. But the way we began to work through that is with his broader picture and his ability to make quicker decisions and stuff. He would give me a deadline and say, hey, okay, we need to make the decision by this day.
Yeah.
So you got up until this day to do all your research, do all the details, and then I need you to narrow it down to like two things, or just narrow it down to that. So then I had something to go by. Then I wasn't just churning my wheels. So he still allowed me to bring my gift of detail orientedness to the table, but without keeping us so stuck in that we wasn't able to like move forward.
Yeah.
And I was able to appreciate his gift of bringing like, okay, well, what's the big major stuff that we need to make sure we have in place? Okay, then I can look at the details. But go ahead.
Even in the travel, right? wanted to do it, all that stuff, but there was needs for my wife
Mm-hmm.
to make this easier, or at least I ain't gonna say easier, more adventurous,
Yeah.
more exposure, more memories,
Yeah.
as opposed to being a horror show, right?
Horror show.
It's okay to have some sitcom drama, stuff like that. That's a better picture.
Yeah.
But a horror show, I don't want to see all the blood and gore of me, of my wife's saying, you know, you got me out here, you did it,
Yeah.
That's cutthroat. We don't
Yeah.
want any of that. So when we got out on the road, I knew we need electricity. I know we need, the way to cook, stay warm, all the comfort,
Mm-hmm.
but with a little woodsy or the RV and the travel, a little, we still have the roof over our head. We're dry, we're
Mm-hmm.
warm, we can cook, we have water, all the things of necessity
Yeah.
of living in a brick and mortar. Now, take this, and it's going to be a little different, and then I had to have some redundancy.
Yeah.
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 Because if we can't plug in, I need to have something that keeps the electricity rolling, the lights on, and warm. That's it.
Yeah. So talking about the horror show,
the horror show.
one of the things that would drive me bananas with our differences, and that is with his broader thinking and faster movement, is sometimes we would miss stuff because he's moving so fast, or sometimes we would some more mistakes would be made because I'm like, man, if we had just slowed down just a little bit to do this and this first, it would have prevented that mistake being made, or oh man, we missed that small little detail. So again, just bringing it back to, it used to drive me bananas, but once we learned how to, because he was willing to slow down just a little bit, just enough for me to bring some of the detail into it, we started being able to move together a lot better and a lot more, like he said, efficiently and effectively.
And even you saying it was a mistake, we learn by mistakes.
Well, we do.
So wait,
Yeah.
hold on. With the mistake that you call it, I'm like, okay, if I'd have known this other thing, right, and that was a detail that was a detail for you.
Yeah.
It wasn't a detail for me,
Right.
right? Then it's not a mistake. It's just, it was another detail that instead of me having narrowed this down to two, like with the gas stations,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes we had a double back, and learning how to read the map. It wasn't a mistake that we had to go back that one time when we was headed to Oklahoma. It wasn't a mistake. It was just, I didn't know that detail of, if you expand the map, right?
Yeah.
It's not just around the corner. It's 100 miles.
Yeah.
Just because we did that's one. And I missed the detail of, I'm a map reader, and this is 100 miles once you know the scale.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well, how many
You
miles?
talking about that detail when it was the last gas station and we got stuck on the mountain?
Yeah.
We was almost ran out of gas.
Yes.
On the mountaintop.
On the mountaintop.
At last call for gas. You better stop, and we didn't stop.
Yeah.
We almost ran out of gas.
And it wasn't enough. That would have been a horror story.
Yeah, that would have been a horror story.
That would have been a horror story.
Because of that small little detail.
Yeah. But mind you, what if we'd have made, that was later on in us traveling.
Yeah.
So we knew, and I was watching the difference between what was on the car, what was on the map, what was on, and I was like, okay, we're going to have to go
This
back
ain't
to
gonna
this
work.
guy. We're not going to make it to the other one because it required, the higher we were going up in elevation, the more gas it was taking, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, fuel efficiency is different in the higher elevation than it is in the lower elevation.
Yeah.
That's something I know, but we haven't really experienced it there.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, we were going lateral, really.
Yeah.
And so we had learned then, that was a mistake. This is the first time we got out for a long trip.
Yeah.
And it was the efficiency of that and the double backs. We can't do that, especially if but we had the double back on that one by now that we've learned how to move. And it was a better mistake, experience,
Okay.
memory,
Yeah.
that, we know what not to do.
Yes.
We know what not to do.
Yep.
And that,
Again,
yeah,
we had to learn this stuff,
that's
y'all.
it.
We figured it out.
It's great to learn these things, and it has never been. I don't hold that over your head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
See, last time we did this, and that it isn't that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the next one?
The next one was yours to talk about.
And that's why I paused. I wanted to make sure it was the right time.
See, we learned it.
Mm-hmm. The third one would be
the way that we're different.
The way that we're different is that we look at time differently.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Now, time, my wife, in the beginning, we would say 5 minutes. Literally, for me, it's 5 minutes. I'm looking at my watch. I used to wear, you will hardly ever see me wear a watch anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you a little bit more about why I don't. But back in the day, because of corporate America, being in the military, just upbringing, you know, time was, you don't waste it, right? And you be there 10, 15 minutes early. If you're there on time, you're late, all of that stuff, that programming. Well, 5 minutes and we're going to church. 5 minutes, we're going to a movie. 5 minutes is like, okay, it's 5 minutes for me.
Okay.
Right? So I'm looking at 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is now 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, I thought you said 5 minutes. Yeah, it's 5 minutes. So it was.
When it go all the way to 20? It wasn't never all the way to 20.
Hey.
I was like, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say.
Keep going,
right.
keep going. But go ahead.
Anyway, so I can tell you one time it was the 20 minutes. It was like, babe, church started such and such. She's like, ain't nobody there at that time. Why are we getting there so early? And I was like, oh, okay. So, again, looking at time that way, it was, what you call it? It was driving me bananas, right? It was driving me bananas, but that's me. That's the way I view time. Very specific and external. If that is that. But when we started traveling and when we started doing our life together,
Mm-hmm.
our time started syncing up. So if you
Okay.
told me 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, okay. It goes back to when you said we need to be, the deadline is this.
Yes.
Then I'm like, okay, I have a deadline, but then I have to go and talk to you. It's like, okay, when would you like to be there? Right? Like
Mhm.
church, or when do we need to be? Like right here.
Yes.
You know, we've been here for a week, and it's like we planned up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now the time for me was, okay, this date. I know now, even if I say, okay, we're leaving on this date, I'll back it up a couple of days so I can relax,
Okay.
right? I have to have some relaxed time. Even on the road. When we was on the road, I was like, babe, I don't want to be like packing all the way up to the time we go and drive.
Yeah.
Because two things have happened while we was on the road, and that was happening. The time that I'm moving and doing this thing, again, we're talking about time. I'm spending too much time getting ready at the last minute. Well, I call the last minute,
Yeah.
right?
Because you needed that buffer time.
I need
to
the
just
buffer
be
time
able to wind
to
down,
wind
to
down,
chill, relax,
make
and
sure-
prepare.
And make
for the
sure I don't
drive.
make any equipment donations.
No
Right?
mistakes.
No, I don't leave an adapter
Yeah.
that I'm gonna need next time
Mm-hmm.
at this one. Then I end up having to buy something because you know I didn't have that little buffer thing. I didn't have to double check my double check.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was just like boom. So we started communicating that,
Yeah.
and so where it was like if we check out at 11, I'm starting at 9 o'clock. My wife might be starting at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because of the things that she does for us to pack up and go.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's our internal clocks have synced
Yes.
and not an external clock of this. That is a good meter or barometer or stick in the sand or line in the sand or whatever of when we are in motion.
Yeah. So
Right.
one of the things that helped us work through that is instead of you saying, okay, you got 10 minutes or hey, whatever, say all I needed to know was what time do you want to leave?
That's it.
Because even in our time, we have different systems or processes
that we go
within our time.
Yeah.
So if we have a whole day to get ready to leave, my process and system within that day of preparing to leave is completely different from his.
Totally different.
Completely different.
Yes. Yeah.
Even us preparing for this week that we've been away,
Yeah.
packing up,
Yeah.
he was ready 2 days before.
I sure was.
I'm like,
and I
I can't pack up all the food and stuff because we still got to eat for 2 days.
Yeah.
We still got to eat breakfast. What we going to eat while we're here? He's like, pack it all up. I'm like,
and I'm like,
can't.
sandwiches,
Like,
you know, whatever.
I can't pack up my bathroom stuff yet because I still got to take showers and stuff. And he's like, all I need is my toothbrush. I'm like,
we got a whole house
I
here.
can't do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, but allowing each other to just be who we are within that space.
Yeah.
But him saying, babe, I just want us to be leaving by 7 a.m. on Friday or whatever the time was. You know, that's all I need to know.
Yep.
That's just give me that and I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Ain't I going to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that worked better. That
absolutely.
We learned
we
how
here,
to. We here.
We've been here and we had a great time. A
Yep.
week into it.
Yep.
But it's like I was ready, right? My stuff was packed up and it was stuff. Of course, I didn't load up my whole wardrobe or anything. I had for the time we're going to be here.
Yeah.
And so we had other stuff. When you live in the house, you have extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I'll just wear this and I'll do this and I'll do that. But I'll pack this stuff here.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that has been a little different because we had everything with us. Now
when we lived in the RV.
Yeah. Now we almost have 2 of everything, right? And it's like, okay. But my wife, this was the funny part.
What?
In that, waiting to the, putting that, I watched you pack up almost our entire kitchen. Right? And look, back in the day, and this.
I'm still adjusting to coming out of RV life. So I'm so used to
No, this is a good thing. This
all of our things.
I'm not pointing the picture. This is not a different.
You are. Just explain it.
Yeah. This was funny because I felt the frustration, the bananas, as we call it here, of, my goodness, why do we need all this stuff? Where we're going has pots, pans, everything, 2 refrigerators. But we are packing everything. I'm like, she got 2 saucepans, she got 2, everything. I was just like, okay. But you know what I did? I went and got another bin. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned I didn't say anything. I was about to. I said I have a suggestion, and what did I say after I said that?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
I was like, well, what's the suggestion?
Nothing.
Never mind.
That's it. Never mind. Because that was my flesh. That was my internal thing, not based on this external thing, right? Then I'm like not syncing up. I'm like, this is my timeline, but our timeline together has not reached the.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was mine, and watching her, that's the way she wanted. Again, the redundancy is fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, of course. She knows how she want to cook, and quiet as kept. We've been in places my wife cooked, and I'm just like, man, I wish she was home. I wish she had her little.
Wish we had
this.
my non-stick pan.
That's right. I wish you had the amino liquid.
Or amino acid.
Liquid
aminos.
aminos. You know, all that stuff. So, what I said, my suggestion was not needed. What was needed was another bin to be in there. So, as Jason would say, I was the right man for the moment. You know what I mean?
He was.
That's the man that needed to come out. The man for that moment was the one that was going to get the extra bin for my wife to make it very convenient and luxurious for her husband.
Our needs.
That's right.
Yes.
But
because I'm gonna tell you,
selfish.
He used that tofu press that we had room to bring.
Absolutely. I'm gonna press my tofu so we can put it in the air fryer. Because, hey, we ain't roughing it. We're not roughing it. We're in the rocking chair on the porch watching hummingbirds and listening to stuff. Yeah, we're not roughing it. We are enjoying the beautiful life we do have.
Yes.
This is different.
Yes. And we want to stick to the lifestyle of our eating and stuff that we have. And
That's
so
it.
sometimes you just got to bring the stuff with you that fits your lifestyle, because it's not going to be
Because look,
wherever you go sometimes. You just got
it's
to like
30
figure
to
it out.
45 minutes to get something. And all
yeah.
of it is fast food, fried, all the other stuff. And I'm like, no, we don't eat that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to eat like we got some sense.
That's right.
Right, Lisa? Yeah. We're going to eat like we got some sense. And that's it. We've done too much to get our internal clocks synced that seemed like they was different to now they are, like I said, value add.
Yes.
Because based on our values and what we
because that was the similar value. Is we
Absolutely.
both want to continue the value of our healthy lifestyle.
That's it.
So we're going to figure this thing
We're
out.
going to figure it out. That's it. We're going to figure it out. So the time is no longer different. It is synced up.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't go off of my external or the external thing of being somewhere.
Yes.
There's absolutely no reason to rush.
Yeah.
There's no emergency.
Yeah.
Now
and my cautiousness and his adventuresomeness helps us to have safe adventures.
That's it. Yes, they do.
So we ain't getting arrested
Yeah.
by going somewhere we shouldn't be going. Because I'm like, man, we are not doing that.
Or
Yeah. Go ahead.
Or even like when you show and you've got all the details of a we're gonna go on a walk.
Yeah.
Right? Then we adjust our footwear. We adjust.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, babe, with the way my body and my knees and everything is kind of works, it's like I will do the 4.
Yes.
You know, we go 2 out, 2 back.
Yes.
Or
so my detailedness
Yeah.
and your get it doneness,
That's
and with the broader picture helps us to get things done
Absolutely.
with the right amount of details
That's
we
it.
need to do it efficiently and effectively.
That's it. So it's not a difference. It's the
Yeah.
value. Looking at the value add of what she brings to the table, what I bring to the table, and even
Brings us into our alignment scripture.
That's it. What's the alignment scripture, bro?
Almost
It's
forgot it,
alignment time.
So yes, our alignment scripture
Romans
is Romans 3. Oh, hold on, y'all. My phone unlocked up. I should have wrote it down, but it is. It's Romans 12, 3 through 5. For by the grace given to me, I tell everyone among you not to think himself more highly than he should think. Don't think you just got it going on because you need some help. Your spouse can help you.
Yeah.
Instead, think sensibly, because God has distributed a measure of faith to each one. Now, as we are many parts in one body, and all the parts do not have the same function, in the same way, we who are many are one body in Christ and individually members of one another. According to the grace given to us, we have different gifts.
Yeah.
So the gist of that is saying, let your spouse be who they are and bring to the table what they bring to the table. Don't think you just got it all together by yourself. And you bring to the table what you bring to the table. The gifts and makeup and personality style that God has given you and God has given to them, it may be different, but when you bring it together, y'all are better together than you are apart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to add a little cross-reference on that scripture.
Okay.
Is, you know, when we talk about don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, right? So,
Speak up a little bit because of the wind.
okay, when the right hand and the left hand don't work together, right? A right hand can't be a left hand, and a left hand can't be a right hand. So, I can't tell my wife to do it a certain way, right?
That's an
Do
interesting
it
twist
like
on
this, right? And she tell me, a right hand, do it this way. There is absolutely no way I can reverse my fingers that way, to bend that way. So I can't do it that way. We work together. So that's the way I see it. I also see it a different way, but
So like
that's
I'm
just-
the left
yeah,
hand
yeah.
and you're the right hand,
yeah.
and we can like
Yeah, we
shoot
can,
right
we can
together.
do the way. Yeah. No, that wasn't rehearsed, so that's why we'll work on that. That was a little bit different. That was a little bananas, didn't it? Yeah. But anyway.
Anyway, y'all, that's what we got for y'all
That's it.
today.
That's
Because
it.
y'all know when we bring God's principles into our life and make him the biggest part of our life together. We don't do life apart from each other. So we want to help y'all to just bring these things together so y'all can work better together, be better together, live better together, because it's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it, y'all.
And remember, make every day a date day. Thank y'all for joining us on Saturday. That's it.
We love you.
Love y'all.
Go love on your spouse.
All right.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Well, next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Peace.